I'm Carole and I run Tuckshop Flowers here in Birmingham. I'm one of the co-founders of the Farewell Flowers directory, and today I'm going to show you how to make a pair of flower-filled boots. This is a really lovely thing to do, a really nice way of personalising somebody's flowers if they were a keen gardener or if they really loved walking. And this idea came to me originally, not for funerals at all, but it was the first time I ever made them was for a wedding, because the couple who were getting married had just come back from a 6-month hiking tour of Europe. So we were just thinking about how we could personalise flowers for their welcome table. And we came up with this idea of having a pair of their walking boots filled with some flowers. And when I did them, I fell in love with them and thought, that's what I'd like on my coffin. They'd be perfect funeral flowers for me. Just fill my gardening boots up with whatever's looking lovely at the time. So that's where the idea came from. And I think it goes to show that funeral flowers don't have to be funereal. There's nothing inherently special that makes them funeral flowers per se. They're just lovely flowers and they're suitable for any occasion. They're just flowers that can be enjoyed for their beauty, and it's just really nice if you can give them a personal twist by using somebody's personal possessions. These are my gardening boots, and now I'm going to fill them with flowers. No boots are harmed in the making of this tribute, so I can wear these again. It's not going to ruin my footwear. And basically you just need something that's going to hold water that can sit comfortably inside the boots. Now there's various options for this. You can use some jam jars. In these boots, ankle boots are really nice for this because jars will fit inside them perfectly, be well supported, and the ankle elastic or laces hold them nice and snugly. You can pack them out with paper or some padding to just hold them firm if you want to. Shoes, you might need to find a lower container like a pate jar or something like that, or a tuna tin or something that's small, and you might need to use a pin frog to support flowers in that if you're using shoes that didn't have the rise like this. I would much prefer to use recycled containers like these than using freshly manufactured virgin products, because I think it's more sustainable to reuse things. But another alternative to the jars might be some compostable coffee cups like these. These are nice in that you can actually just trim them down so that they can be the right size that you want them to be. All you need is something that's watertight, basically, and that is going to be enough to hold your flowers. Another option is a Tetra Pak, something that's, something that's come from a litre of milk or some juice, and you can, because at least they're quite flexible, so you can squish them to suit. You could use wine bags. I mean, obviously they're plastic, but they're not single-use plastic if you're reusing them. And again, the advantage of something like this is that it's flexible. You can squidge it in to suit, and it will also be watertight. So this is a pouch that some gin came in, and you could just pop that into the boot, trim the top to where you need it to be, and then you're ready to go with that. But again, it's just, reusing things rather than finding brand new products. It's really not rocket science. So they've got all sorts of options for actually lining boots. Today I'm just going to use these jam jars, having trimmed that down to it, because I like using jam jars. The nice thing about the jam jars is you can pop them out of the boots afterwards if you want to use them as simple table decorations minus the boots. Obviously something a bit squidgy like that, or not so attractive in itself, you can't pop it out and reuse them quite so easily. So I'm just going to put some water in these, just pop them onto the boot, and then I'm going to just fill it using some seasonal materials from the garden. So here we've got some beech twigs that are just starting to throw out their leaves. They're these lovely bronzy coloured tips. They go quite nicely with the boots actually. So just get your structure with your woody materials first, and they'll help to support the flowery bits later. Spine here as well, which is lovely this time of year. You know, it's always nice when you're making things like this to think about, did somebody have favourite colours? Is there a particular colour scheme that's going to work for what you're making? And just find flowers that fit with that. Just wanting these to feel nice and stable, so I just wanted to get this woody structure in there first. If you've got forky materials like those, they're quite good at anchoring your other ingredients, because things can sit quite naturally in the branching crooks of the stems. Then a little bit of separation so you can actually see them. Now, you don't need to worry about making each boot identical. It's not really necessary. Although it's your own preference, you know, you just do what pleases you in the end. I've got a bit of acer foliage, just a nice contrast. Maybe a little bit big, but we can always take it out again later if we don't like it. I'm literally just getting a shape I like. And the thing about working with your garden grown ingredients is you get to know them. Things like beech, they can be a bit floppy when they first come into leaf. But if you catch them at this stage while the leaves are in the process of emerging, you can enjoy them for a good few days in a vase as well. The leaves are coming out and they've got that lovely fresh green colour, and I actually quite like the bronzy bits, because I think especially for this colour scheme, because they go quite nicely with the brown colour of the boots. Now, because I'm doing these as a demo for the Farewell Flowers directory, I'm going to try and use Farewell Flowers directory colours in the flowers. You don't need anything terribly long. They're just, I don't know, 10-15 centimetres. Obviously you might want some taller ingredients in there later, just to re-chop a little bit, but you don't need hugely long ingredients. So if you're a flower grower, that's one thing that's nice about making funeral flowers. If you're doing wreaths and smaller arrangements like these for funerals, you don't need to worry about having, you know, oodles of 3 foot long material, because you simply don't need that kind of stem length on these. Here I've got a bit of brachydlotis foliage, which is one of my favourites. Can't resist putting him in there. Also got a little bit of apple blossom, which is lovely at this time of year. Let's put this right in as a nod to the season. But you can make them as wild or as restrained as you want them to be. It's really just a matter of your own personal taste. Just going to pop some wallflowers in there. These are the My Fair Lady wallflowers, so they come in these lovely pastel colours. But I do also have the bright reds and the bright oranges. Now, when you're putting your flowers in, you just need to make sure that they are actually sitting in the water, that they've not gone outside the edge of the jar. That's the only thing to be slightly careful of when the jars are inside the boots. You've got all your foliage material, you need to just double check that you've got them in the water. And your woody materials are great also because they can act as scaffolding and just support some of the slightly softer flowers as well. I like that. I love that colour with the ace foliage because they kind of echo each other quite nicely. And now I'm just going to grab some bits and pieces. It's tulip time in the garden at the moment, so I've got some quite wacky tulips going. They might be a bit big and overpowering, but let's give them a whirl and just see how we get on. They've got a fantastic colour to them. These are called Louvre Orange, and they've got this amazing kind of orange and cerise pink. So I'm just going to pop a few of these in. Ooh, might be a bit long. Now. They are quite madly massive. But fun in their own way. Tulips will always do their own thing to some extent. So you can see what's happening. They fill up a big space in an arrangement, that much is for sure. Quite funny arranging things from the back of the design as well, rather than the front. So you've got a better view of the front than I have. I might have to pop round and have a look at it later. I'm just going to put some of these in. They've just got the most amazing centres as well, just incredible. These will close up again at night. So even, you know, normally if you're buying tulips, you'd buy them in quite tight bud, but when they're garden grown tulips, even when the flowers are quite well developed, you still probably get a week out of them in the vase in a cool room. They actually have a good life, but they will kind of grow and twist and bend towards the light. Even in the vase, they'll keep on growing. Now these are more traditional coloured, dark wallflowers. I'll pop a few of those in there. And there's also some bright yellow ones, which are quite nice, just for highlight. And the nice thing about the boots is just having this water source in them means you're not stressing so much about things wilting in moss, because you know that the flowers are supported by water, which is really nice when the weather's hot like it is today. These wallflowers are probably a bit overdeveloped for me to use for something else, but this is just for a demo, so I'm popping them in. Waste not, want not. Just popping a few yellow ones in there as highlights. So when I'm making this, it's the end of April. So these are the things that are growing in my garden right now. Now, if you're wanting to get a wild feel, sometimes the lighter weight ingredients are the nice ones to go for. I think the heavy things like the tulips can, you know, they just change the feel of the range just because they've got a lot of heft to the flower. So sometimes you just need those kind of more wispy, fillery type ingredients just to give it a bit more lightness of touch. And if you don't have a garden of your own or a cutting patch to cut from, you can make the choice, you know, make sort of those aesthetic choices when you're ordering your flowers in. Choose the more kind of meadow style ingredients. Things like delphiniums, larkspur, scabious, you know, just things that have got that light kind of wispy feel to them. Now, this is, forget not, it's not really farewell flowers colours, but it's just so pretty. Can't resist doing a little bit of that. And again, it's got that lovely wispy feel. This is white flowering honesty. Just a little bit. Forget-me-nots can be a bit droopy if you use them when they're very young, but if you wait until their seed pods are forming like that, then they last quite well in a bottle. They look almost like flaspy or something like that. You get that nice kind of texture to them that way. Excuse me, I'm fishing through my leftovers down there. I had a wedding on this weekend, so these are leftovers on that. So I'm just reusing them, doing a bit of recycling for the purpose of this demo today. So things like this white honesty, because they've got a bit of length to them, they're quite nice to add a little meaty element, a little bit of extra height in there. This is one of my favourite ingredients right now, which is the viburnum Epilus roseum. It's got these lovely, call it the snowball bush, and these flowers will turn from green to white, but they're a lovely kind of contrast colour in arrangements, and they're just one of my faves. We've got a little bit of spirea again, it's a bit of woody height to it. Just snap that, push it a bit too vigorously. That's right. It's too linear somehow. I also have some last of the narcissi. These have been having a good drink, so I think they've done most of their oozing, so I'm going to risk recutting the stems to mix them in with something else. They've been in water for a day or two, so they should be fine. And it's quite nice. You've got a little bit of length to them. And hoodie sections of them. These are really pretty. They had quite lemon centres originally, but they've aged, they change colour, and become a lot more white and pretty. Ooh. Brown hoodie bits off. Now I'm just going to turn these around and have a look at them on the front side to see what I think. You've had the benefit of that view, I haven't. It's something a bit more frilly. Like that narcissus catches the light. What am I going to put in there to stand? Oh, yes. Some yellow ranunculus. Now these are perfect farewell flowers because they're that real acid or mustard yellow. And they've got a really good length to them, these. I bought these in. I've never had any success growing ranunculus. So these are bought-in ones. A little bit shorter. It's really hot in this workshop today, I have to say. Although it's only April, we're having one of those little mini summery heat waves that get from time to time. It's about 25 degrees here in Birmingham today, which is a bit weird for this time of year. There you go. I do like a sticky outer. Seems quite green in this area just here, so I just want to add a little bit of something light coloured just to break up. Peering into my camera. Actually see that? I don't know if I can. I might have to add another one for good measure. Just prune a leaf or two just to reduce the heaviness of that green. Lines. Let's So here we go. Two flowery boots, nice and wild. For me, when I go, as long as I go in April to what's flowering, then so go ahead, fill your boots with flowers.